What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you guys are just getting in here, definitely do me a huge favor. Smack up that like button. Do it for the algorithm. And on top of that, big shout out to the sponsor of the video, Underdog Fantasy. If you do like, I guess, anything daily fantasy, football, basketball, baseball, anything like that, use promo code AZSF and get your initial deposit matched up to $100. Use promo code AZSF, and on top of that, we are partnered with FOCO as well. You want to get yourself any type of merch, overalls, shorts, anything Cardinals related, go ahead and use promo code AZSports. And you can get yourself 10% off at checkout. Everything will be in the description below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you guys are wondering why there is lack of content here on the channel, the biggest reason is the Arizona Cardinals are god-awful. They're god-awful. I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the Arizona Cardinals because it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And honestly, there's only so much optimism that I can go ahead and give out here, because at the end of the day, I don't think that this Cardinal team is going to amount to very much this year. Now, I think what we're really excited about is obviously the draft content, which is going to be ramping up here, most likely in December, and then definitely in January, February. So definitely stay tuned, because we're going to be talking all things free agency as well as draft talk, because that's what we all want to talk about here, right? We know that the season is going to be a wash. We're all kind of hoping, or not all of us, but there's some certain type of there's a selected group of fans that still want to win, including myself, and that's only to obviously get momentum into 2024. But I get the other side of the coin in terms of why, right? Why win? So I get it. In the grand scheme of things here, we are still Arizona Cardinal fans, and it is what it is at this very moment. So we are going to be shifting the content to a long form style type of content. So these live streams a little bit more than the actual videos. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you are looking for content, if you're wondering why I haven't posted in a very long time, go to the live tab on the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, because most likely that is where we're going to be making mainly our videos, so I can interact with you guys and we can have a discussion back and forth. I think it's kind of very, very important to have that transparency and just, I guess, conversation amongst each other, because let's be honest, Bird Gang, like, we need each other right now. Like, this is a terrible, terrible season, and I don't think it's going to get any better. Let's just call it like it is. It's not going to get any better. So we're going to go ahead and shift over and talk about draft prospects. And obviously, I have a poll question here in the top of the chat. I end up asking you guys, what is the biggest need for the Arizona Cardinals heading into the 2024 draft? I give you wide receiver, trenches, cornerback, or quarterback. Those are your options to go ahead and obviously let us know. Cast your vote here in the description here below. We'll go ahead and dive back into that a little later on in the stream. But let's dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. I went ahead and came across a couple different things. Now, right now, where the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at, the week of playing the Steelers, we have the 2nd overall pick and the 17th overall pick in the NFL draft. Now, obviously, the 17th pick is contingency on the Texans continuing to lose. So we want the Texans to lose. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, obviously, I don't see another win in the remaining of the schedule. Maybe the Chicago Bears, but being that they don't want to lose, right? It looks like the Justin Fields is still trying to hang on to being a quarterback over there, so we don't exactly know what's going to happen with the Bears. So as of right now, it seems like the Arizona Cardinals might be trending into getting the first overall pick, or maybe staying at the second overall pick. But as of right now, TBD. So I ended up coming across a couple different things. Now, please bear with me. There's going to be a lot of information on this stream. We're going to be diving into prospects, who you want, different scenarios. And on top of that, I did come across something on Twitter that I want to make sure that you guys are fully aware of, because at the grand scheme of things here, ladies and gentlemen, anything draft pick, anything draft related, I think it is definitely something that we need to kind of pay attention to. So I ended up coming across this thread here on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Now, I think we all know that the Arizona Cardinals have a lot of draft picks heading into the 2024 NFL draft. I believe we have about 13 picks, but we ended up seeing this report that came out here from Nick Corti, and it says this: as I begin to review incentives, I'm realizing that the Cardinals may have ended up canceling out their fourth round 2024 compensatory pick for the departure of Zach Allen by trading for, and this is key, playing / Josh Dobbs with an assist from the Vikings. Now, if you guys do not know, when we do miss out in signing free agents, we are granted compensatory picks to teams. So we were supposed to get one here for Zach Allen. And I think that is kind of voided now because of the Josh Dobbs trade. And on top of that, him playing a good amount of snaps with the Vikings. Now let's continue to read here. We're not going to read all of it, but it's very, very important to kind of know that we might be missing out on a pick because of the whole Josh Dobbs situation. So let's continue to read. The contract that Josh Dobbs signed with Cleveland on March 23rd has a base $2 million, but also contains up to $500K of snap count incentives, with the highest one being at 60%. Since Dobbs has played almost every snap at the 2/3 mark for both the Cardinals and the Vikings, he'll earn an extra $500K. Without that extra $500K, Josh Dobbs' contract would have been unlikely to qualify him as a compensatory pick free agent. But because he's poised to earn it, he is now highly likely to qualify even if he doesn't play another snap with the Vikings. So I think we kind of I think we kind of lost some draft picks. Now I'm looking at Tankathon. That's where I really take a look at like draft pick is and where we're actually landing in this whole situation. The Arizona Cardinals right now do have 13 picks here in the NFL draft. And I think the one that they're referring to right now is going to be the one sitting at the 133rd, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the one that we're referring to, the 133rd. Now, yes, it sucks because it is within the 150, and obviously we could still get some gems. Monty Ossenfort could definitely go ahead and finagle somebody and maybe get somebody in 133rd, but I think this one might be the one that Zach Allen was supposed to get us, and I think it was projected that this is going to be the one. So this is the one we might lose. If not, then we were supposed to get one after the season. So as of right now, we just want to be fully transparent and let you guys know that with this whole Josh Dobbs situation and then trading him over to the Vikings and him playing 2/3 of the snaps for, the entirety of the season, that might be a voided compensatory pick. I'm not sure if it's this one or another one, but just keep in mind that might be a situation that's coming back our way in terms of not having that specific pick. So just wanted to kind of get you guys in the loop and let you guys know exactly what's going on. Obviously, Josh Dobbs, I'm not sure if you guys saw the Monday Night Football game. He ended up losing against the Chicago Bears. And I know there's a lot of people very high on Josh Dobbs and what he's done for the Arizona Cardinals organization. Me personally, I've never said anything bad about him personally. I just wanted to see a different quarterback. But hopefully he continues to keep killing it. I did hear that the coach might do a reevaluation process with the quarterback position. So I'm not sure if this is the end of Dobbs moving forward, but as of right now, TBD. So let's continue to talk about, I guess, Cardinals related stuff, right? Let's talk about the prospect watch, because I think that's what we're all really kind of excited to talk about here. Now, I think one of the biggest questions out there is the Arizona Cardinals a lock for Marvin Harrison Jr.? Now, the Arizona Cardinals right now sitting at the second overall spot. Some might say that the Arizona Cardinals are a lock for getting a Marvin Harrison Jr. But here's the situation that we're kind of living in right now. And please keep in mind, this is all speculations. This is all kind of our opinion, and we're just kind of we're opening up a conversation at this very moment. I'm not 100% convinced that the Bears are going to go quarterback. Whether it's the first overall pick, or whether they trade, right? I'm not convinced that they're going to go quarterback. So if they indeed stay with Justin Fields, which I get it, it doesn't seem like it's trending in the right direction for Justin Fields to keep his job, especially because a contract might be coming up soon, and I'm not sure if the Chicago Bears really truly believe in a Justin Fields. But I think in the grand scheme of things here is that I don't think it's solidified that the Bears will go quarter. I don't think it's for sure that they will go quarterback. So some might say out there that, hey, maybe they might go Marvin Harrison Jr., right? If they do stay in that number 1 overall spot, maybe they might go wide receiver. Now, what do the Arizona Cardinals do in that situation? Because I get it. We have been victims of a player, getting ripped away from us literally one pick before, or the Arizona Cardinals going completely the opposite route, right? So right now we're kind of living in a world where I get the Marvin Harrison hype. I'm right there with you. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a great, phenomenal talent, and that would be really, really cool to see him with whatever quarterback is throwing the ball to him, whether it is going to be Kyler Murray or whether it is going to be the Arizona Cardinals picking up somebody in the later part of the draft. Maybe, I don't know, right? We don't know. Right now we have 5 games. And yes, right now Kyler Murray is the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, but with what the report has said originally before Kyler Murray stepped on the field from Ian Rappaport, which usually has things right on the head, right? Usually he does have the inside scoop. And what he has said is that this is still an evaluation process at the end of the day. Kyler Murray is evaluating the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are, evaluating Kyler Murray to see if he's going to be the quarterback of the future. So there's still kind of a lot of things up in the table, and I think a lot of us do want to get Marvin Harrison Jr., but we can't ignore the fact that the Arizona Cardinals have so many holes on this roster. And I think looking at the poll question that we ended up having here, we got a lot of people saying that the Arizona Cardinals' biggest need, or actually it seems to be a split. We have wide receiver and then the trenches. So right now we have 35 votes, and we got, or actually the trenches now won. The trenches now not took the lead. So the trenches have the lead at 44% to the wide receivers 42%. So I agree that number 1 wide receiver is a huge need for the Arizona Cardinals, but I do also think the trenches are something that the Arizona Cardinals need to look into, right? Whether that is going to be interior defensive line, edge, or even a offensive lineman to protect whatever quarterback we decide to move on with, right? Whether it's Kyler Murray or another quarterback, it does need to be apparent that these trenches need to be bolstered, right? So, and then we have the cornerback position at 5%, which I'm very surprised how low that is. And then we got the quarterback position at 8%. So we still got 8% of the voters saying that quarterback is still a need for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, like I said a little earlier, right now while we're making this video, this is the week before we play the Steelers. So right now, I'm not thinking quarterback right now, but please keep in mind that's 5 weeks away. We got 5 games left. I'm sorry, not 5 weeks away. It's 5 games away from the Arizona Cardinals continuing to evaluate, right? Ending the evaluation process after these 5 games. So please keep that in mind as well, where the Arizona Cardinals right now are kind of in a situation where we have 5 games and anything can change. Anything can change at this very moment pertaining to, is Kyler Murray the future or not, right? So right now, while we're doing this live stream, my mindset isn't, I'm going to use that 2nd overall pick for a quarterback. That's not where my mindset is. Now, if the Arizona Cardinals continue to struggle, and if the Arizona Cardinals continue to look as bad as we did against the Rams, then we might be singing a different tune, right? Then we might be singing a different tune. No pun intended there. But we might be singing a different song at that very moment. So, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how this all shakes out. But as of right now, I think where my mind is wide receiver and the trenches. I think this poll question has hit it right on the head. Wide receiver is very important. And now people are starting to realize it when I've been talking about it since the beginning of this year, right? So many people were hyped up about Marquise Hollywood Brown. So many people were saying, give Marquise Hollywood Brown a chance. He could possibly be a number 1. And I said this. I was like, no, Marquise Hollywood Brown is not a number 1 wide receiver. And now we're starting to see it, right? Especially with Michael Wilson not being on the field. Like, it's so crazy that a rookie wide receiver, granted, yes, he's a big-bodied wide receiver, but it's crazy to me that we are in a situation right now where, and now we're starting to realize it, right? Where we are depending on a Marquise Hollywood Brown to be that guy, to be that X factor for us. And he's just not that guy. He's not that guy. But a solid number 2 he is, right? I would still want to keep him on the roster, obviously, depending on what Monty Ossenfort, as well as what Marquise Hollywood Brown's agents and him decides on. I still want to keep him on the roster, but I don't want to pay a number 1 wide receiver type of money for a Marquise Hollywood Brown. I'm just going to say that right now. So I'm glad that now people are starting to see that number 1 wide receiver is a very, very crucial thing. But to me, Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't the end-all be-all to me. I think there is another wide receiver there that I am so high on. I am so high on wide receiver from Washington, Rome Odunze. I'm not sure if you guys heard of him. I'm not sure if you guys even know who this man is, but Rome Odunze is a guy that we need to keep our eyes on, because I think this man right here has the potential to be a number 1 wide receiver. We're talking about a prototypical wide receiver, over 6'2", over 1,000 yards this year with Washington. And let's be honest, when we pick up Washington players, they usually work out for the Arizona Cardinals. So Rome Odunze, keep that name in your ear, because I think that man can be pretty good, especially if we don't go the Marvin Harrison route. Rome Odunze is going to be, to me, the next best thing, right? Or there could be one of those other wide receivers that you might want on there, but I really, really, really do like Rome Odunze and what he can possibly do. Let's get to my first contribution of the day. What's up, Brandon? He says, trenches, both side, and best DB, keep K1. Okay, well, right now, as where we are at while we're recording this video, I think keeping K1 is going to be the mindset right now, because that is the best case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals. And we've said this from the beginning of the season. We've said this from the beginning of the season that this is the year that's very crucial for Kyler Murray. Now, I'm not the only one talking about this. If you do listen to the local radio station here, 98.7, they said the exact same thing, where the Arizona Cardinals, if they're sitting at the 2nd overall spot and we don't see progression, the Cardinals might consider it. That doesn't mean that the Arizona Cardinals are going to do it and get a quarterback, but they might consider the idea because of this being a longer rebuild than we might all think it's going to be, right? So is Kyler Murray the future? We don't 100% know, but it is for the best interest of the Arizona Cardinals for Kyler Murray to progress and be the guy, so we can allocate those 2 first-round picks for cornerback, wide receiver, trenches, right? Anything that you could possibly think of. Because if you're using another quarterback for the very high pick that we have, the Cardinals pick, then that's another quarterback right in the first round in the last 3 in the last 6 to 7 years, or it might be 6 years. Yeah, 3 quarterbacks in the last 6 years, and it's just not a good look. So I want the Arizona Cardinals to be very, very due diligent and really find out if Kyler Murray is going to be the guy moving forward. So as of right now, I'm going to be very, very clear. While we're being live and doing this live stream right now, Kyler Murray, in my mindset, is the guy moving forward. But we got 5 games for him to absolutely prove that he is the guy. So I want to make sure that everybody's fully aware of that. And I'm not just going to completely throw you guys off the loop, right? So 5 games for him to prove it. Let's see exactly what happens. And I'm not saying win. I'm not saying Kyler Murray win. I'm saying Kyler Murray needs to be competitive. Kyler Murray needs to look better. Kyler Murray needs to make great decisions. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying win. I'm saying he needs to look good at the end of the year. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate you, Brandon. Thank you so very much for the contribution. Appreciate you, brother. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I think Rome Odunze will be a really good wide receiver if we do not go the Marvin Harrison route. So just throwing that out there. Let's take a look here in terms of where we are at right now in the standings, because honestly, I want to ask you guys right now, do you think that the Arizona Cardinals can possibly be in the 1st overall spot in the NFL draft? Let me know here in the chat. Do you guys think the Arizona Cardinals can possibly be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft? Now, let's go ahead and do a real quick sharing of the screen again. I want to go ahead and do my quick due diligence and let you guys obviously know where I see my information in terms of like draft order and all that stuff. I use a very cool website named Tankathon, and I'm pretty sure most people know this now, but this is a really cool website for you to do anything, right? You can do mock drafts. You can do the draft order. It's really, really cool. So this is where we're at right now. The Arizona Cardinals are sitting at number 2, and then you got the Carolina Panthers at the number 1, or I guess AKA the Chicago Bears pick, but it's the Carolinas, it's their whatever happens to that team. So, and on top of that, we're sitting at 17 because of Houston just losing over the weekend. We know that Houston needs to lose for the Arizona Cardinals to continue to get that pick a lot higher, because that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for maybe a top 10 or maybe even a top 15 pick for that Houston pick. And looking at the schedule of Houston, it does really seem like Houston might drop a few. So the Arizona Cardinals might be on the good side of things here, but let's completely focus on the the Carolina Panthers, shall we? Let me give a big shout out here to my guy Thomas with another contribution. He says this: get Marvin Harrison, trade down Houston pick, and get Penix Jr. Well, we've seen the Eagles do this, right? We've seen the Eagles not draft somebody in the first round, but they get a quarterback in the second round when they still had Carson Wentz signed up to a long-term deal. Honestly, this is an idea where I wouldn't be mad at either, because you're not giving away, or you're not using your first top high pick on a quarterback. But if there is another quarterback that you're really looking forward to bringing into your team in a second round, I would love this idea. I truly do. Now, is it him? Right? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be this guy, but I do like the idea of the Arizona Cardinals, obviously keeping every stone unturned. But as of right now, I do like this idea. We'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. Because right now, if you really think about it here, Thomas, and I appreciate the contribution, like I said a little earlier, the Cardinals can still use 17 for somebody else. We don't have to trade down. We can use our second round pick for somebody, for a quarterback, right? Just like the Eagles did it. So we can use our second overall, the 17th overall for two positions that we need, whether it's wide receiver, trenches, cornerback, anything like that, and then use our second round pick, because it's going to be a very, very high pick in the second round. We might be picking number 2 in the second round. We can still get a quarterback then, right? So I guess it just really depends on if the Cardinals do like one of those quarterbacks back there. But I wouldn't hate that idea. I wouldn't hate that idea at all. All right, let's take a look here at the Carolina Panthers. Now, I did ask you guys here in the chat. I ended up asking you guys, do you think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be the number 1 overall spot in the NFL draft? If you guys have an answer, definitely do me that huge favor. Let me know what your guys' thoughts here in the chat, because let's take a look here real quick at the Carolina Panthers remaining schedule, shall we? Now, the Panthers, they just fired Frank Reich, right? The Panthers have no intention to tank. The Panthers want to win. Now, can they win? We don't know, right? Right now, it's to be determined. But that owner is not setting up for anything other than he wants to win. The owner of the Panthers organization wants to win. I want to be very, 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 very on top of this. They just fired Frank Reich because he could not win with Bryce Young. So Bryce Young has 6 games left remaining in the schedule. They got the Buccaneers, they got the Saints, they got the Falcons, they got the Green Bay Packers, they got the Jaguars, and then they got the Buccaneers again. So they got a lot of division games coming their way. So the Panthers can very well maybe win 1 or 2 more games. Now, I guess it just depends, right? Where are you feeling as a Cardinal fan? Do you want the Arizona Cardinals to be number 1 overall, or are you okay with number 2? Because I do know a very, very close buddy of mine here that we end up doing a podcast together. He, in his mind, he says that if we're first overall, anything's on the table, right? But if we're number 2, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. all the way. At least that's his mind process and the way that he likes to think of things. But do you think the Arizona Cardinals can possibly be number 1? That's the biggest question out there, because right now, if we look at the remaining schedule of the Arizona Cardinals, it's tough. Oh, it's tough. The Arizona Cardinals schedule is tough, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Steelers, which I thought they were going to be easier than they are. They're no slouch. We got the Steelers. We got the 49ers. We got the Bears, which just won on Monday Night Football against the they just won against the Vikings. So I don't think they have any intention of losing, because let's be honest, if the Chicago Bears continue to lose, that head coach is going to get fired. That Chicago Bears team does not want to lose. They want to continue to win. Because if they lose, that guy is going to get fired. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to get fired. So we got the Bears, and then we got the Eagles, and then we got the Seahawks, which I don't think the Seahawks are that great, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the Seahawks are probably going to fight for some sort of playoff spot. So we got 5 games left on the schedule, and man, oh man, the Arizona Cardinals do not have it easy at all. So we can very well post a situation right now where the Arizona Cardinals might be living in a situation where we might have the first overall pick in the NFL draft. And if that's the case, what do we do then? What happens there in a situation where the Arizona Cardinals are number 1 because the Panthers don't want to lose, the Chicago Bears don't want to lose, because the Chicago Bears have a head coach that might be on the brink of being fired? Why would he want to lose? And then the Panthers just fired their head coach because of them losing. The Arizona Cardinals are an obviously rebuild, right? We're a strip down, blow this up with a dynamite type of rebuild. Jonathan Gannon might have a lot more wiggle room, a lot more of a leash than we all think, right? So we might be the number one overall spot in the NFL draft because the incentivize of what the Carolina Panthers are going through within their organization compared to the Bears, they're all kind of living in the same situation. So this is interesting. This is interesting. We got 6 more weeks in the season. We got 5 more games because we got a bye week coming up here pretty soon. So we'll have to kind of wait and see exactly what happens for the Arizona Cardinals. Let me get to Deas here in the contribution. He says Bickley did stat comp between Cobb versus K1 for sample size of work. First, or Dobbs. I'm sorry. He means Dobbs, not Cobbs. So Dobbs versus K1 for the sample size of work. First 4 games, and Dobbs won. The K1 train needs to move on. Great work, Mike. K15. I think you mean T15, right? Because I think you're a big Clayton Tune dude. You're talking about Bickley from Arizona Sports. Well, I know, man. It's one of those situations that I do think that these next 5 games are crucial. These next 5 games are crucial. It is best for the Arizona Cardinals to know that Kyler Murray is the guy moving forward. But if you can't prove it in these next 5 games, we might be really, really considering a quarterback. And that would suck because I do want to allocate those 2 first-round picks to something that we absolutely need. Cornerback, trenches, wide receiver, right? Whatever you think in your head that's most important for the Arizona Cardinals. So, yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But I appreciate the contribution, my dude. But yeah, this is where we're at right now. This is where we're at. Right now, we're sitting at the 2nd overall with a 2-10 record. We got the Carolina Panthers at 1-10. But like we said earlier, y'all, there's no incentivize. There's no incentive for Carolina or the Chicago Bears to lose. The Cardinals might have incentivized because obviously the first pick and being that our roster is as depleted as it is, we might have an incentivized, but this might shoot us in the foot, right? This might shoot Gannon. This might shoot Kyler in the foot. We don't know. We don't know what the mind process of Monty Ossenfort, Michael Bidwell is, right? Maybe this is a part of their plan. Maybe Kyler Murray is the future, and that's why they took him out of the under center because they know in shotgun he's going to get destroyed. We don't know. We don't know, right? We're all just living in speculations right now. So I think right now we're kind of in a situation where it's wait and see. But man, this is the best time to talk about it. We're in November. We're in November 28th, and we're talking about draft capital. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But it's just kind of it's indicative of where we are at right now as an organization, right? I previously looked at Carolina, and I was like, man, that's not a good team. But, I mean, so is the Arizona Cardinals. We're not a good team. Chicago, they're starting to stride in the right direction. If Justin Fields does want to keep his job, if he wants to keep his career alive in the NFL, he needs to win. If that head coach in the Chicago Bears wants to continue to win, or he wants to keep his job, he needs to continue to win. So right now, the Cardinals might be on the outside looking in of getting the first overall pick in the NFL draft again. Right? We were just the first overall pick in the NFL draft back in 2019 when we got Kyler Murray, right? We drafted Josh Rosen in 18. We got Kyler Murray on 19. And now we're sitting in 2023. We might be the first overall pick in the NFL draft again because of what we just talked about a little earlier. So, man, it's going to be interesting. It definitely is going to be interesting here to figure out how this is all going to shake out. But let's take a look here at the poll question because I end up asking you guys. We got 64 votes right now. And I appreciate you guys for obviously, being engaged here in the chat. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, definitely do me that huge favor right now. We got over 70 people watching, 16 likes. Go and smack up that like button. Do it for the algorithm. Help me out and just smack that like button if you can. But yeah, it definitely seems like right now where our poll question is, wide receiver and trenches seem to be the spearhead of where we are at right now as a organization. Wide receiver and then trenches seem to be the top 2. And I think wide receiver took a huge leap. They're 52% and then 35% for the trenches. So it's a big deal. Absolutely a big deal. Let's keep it on the chat here. Do you think there's a chance we take Caleb Williams? Honestly, Kyler's good, and I appreciate the contribution. I think anything's on the table. I truly do. Right now, where my mind is, I think the Arizona Cardinals are not thinking about getting a quarterback at the 2nd overall spot right now. right now where we're at, we got 5 games left. Right now, I don't think they are because the evaluation process for Kyler Murray is still happening. But here's the big but, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the big but. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I'm not the only one talking about it. I'm not the only one talking about it. The Arizona Cardinals, if they end up with the first overall spot and continue to look like we did against the Rams, then there's room for maybe the Arizona Cardinals going at Caleb Williams. But if the Arizona Cardinals win one more game, but we're competitive in all these games, then I think the Arizona Cardinals can be confident with Kyler Murray, at least for one more year. And then we could kind of fill up a lot of holes in the draft. I think the perfect scenario that a lot of people are making up in their heads where Kyler Murray is one more year and then we give him all these weapons and build up our roster. Because I think that's what people want. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to ask this organization to not at least consider a quarterback if you're number one, and we look like we do against the Rams in all 5 of these games, because we got a tough stretch, y'all. We got a tough stretch. We might be getting beat down in more than 2 of these games. In the next 5 games, at least 2 of these games, we're going to get beat down. And I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers, and then I'm talking about the Eagles. Oh, that's going to be a beatdown. That's going to be a beatdown, ladies, and it won't even be close. Roster to roster, it's not close. It's not close at all. I don't think the 49ers are going to take us lightly like they did in the beginning of the year where we were kind of competitive until the second half. I don't think the 49ers are going to do that mistake anymore. I think they're going to take care of business and prove why they will be the NFC West champs again. So I think the 49ers are going to beat us down. I think the Eagles are going to beat us down. I'm hoping the Steelers don't beat us down, but it might be a realization because of A, we're playing in Pittsburgh, and B, Mike Tomlin is a mastermind in my mind. He's never had a losing season, even with Kenny Pickett. So that might be a loss there for the Cardinals as well. The Seahawks might be fighting for some sort of playoff spot. So they're going to want to win that last game. And then we got the Chicago Bears. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. So the question that my guy asked in the chat, do I think we're going to get Caleb Williams? I think if we continue to look like we did against the Rams, anything's open. Anything's open. But if we're competitive, I think it's different. That's just kind of the way my mind process will go. Something in the chat says too many holes to draft a QB right now. K1 is going to get one more year unless he gets injured again. I mean, that's fair. I mean, here's the thing. You could also live in a situation or live in a scenario where the Arizona Cardinals still draft a guy and still use K1, right? We've seen that with Patrick Mahomes, right? We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith. The Cardinals can still do the same thing as well, right? If there's a quarterback they really like a Drake May or a Caleb Williams, if they truly do like one of those two guys, we might be living in a scenario where the Arizona Cardinals draft them and don't use them for year one and just rock with Kyler Murray, right? We don't know. We don't know. But I get it. There is a lot of holes. But we are going to have a lot of we have draft capital, and then we got a lot of money. So that's one thing that a lot of people are not really focusing on as well, is that we have a lot of money to spend this year as well. So the Cardinals can address offensive line. They can address cornerback. They can address whatever need they feel like they need to address, right? The Cardinals could address that in free agency and in the draft. We got 13 picks right now in the NFL draft. I think we got 5 picks within the top 100. We're set up pretty well to build this roster out, and we're hoping that Monty Ossenfort can be the guy to turn this ugly roster around, right? We're all hoping and praying that we're going to be able to turn this ugly roster around because we got it. But if the Cardinals really love a quarterback, I mean, they might. You never know. I mean, you never know. I get Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the sexiest pick out there, right? I'm right there with you. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the sexiest pick out there. But remember last year, ladies and gentlemen, we were all raving about tank for Jalen Carter, tank for Will Anderson, right? Do y'all remember? I remember. I keep receipts. I remember the chatter. I remember people talking last year around this time when our season was absolutely garbage, right? And we knew Cliff Kingsbury was going to get fired at the end of the year. We knew it. We were saying things like tank for Jalen Carter, tank for Will Anderson Jr. But guess what? Things change from this moment right now to the end of March or to the end of April, because that's when the draft is. Things change so much. the tune of Jalen Carter was completely switched because Jalen Carter got into this outside noise situation. The Cardinals maybe didn't consider it. Then everybody wanted Will Anderson Jr., and that was the lock. That's exactly what the Cardinals wanted. That's what the Cardinals needed. And then Monty Ford went ahead and just traded back. He traded back in, traded back up to get Paris Johnson Jr., right? So in the grand scheme of things, like, people's perception on November and December is different when the draft comes. It's so different. You're going to hear a lot of stories come up. You're going to hear everything come up, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. It truly is, because honestly, everybody's opinions change, and so does mine. Like I said a little earlier, this process of mine is contingent on how the Cardinals play. I'm not expecting Cardinals wins. I'm not saying go on 5-0. I'm not saying, Kyler Murray, if you want to keep your job, you have to go 5-0. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just be competitive, right? Just show that you can make right decisions. That's all I'm saying. Be competitive. Don't get blown out. Don't look like the Rams again. That's all I'm saying. But, it's kind of one of those situations that we've seen it. We've seen it literally unfold in front of our eyes, because when I used to do a poll question, who do you want next year? And we were talking about in November and December, everybody was like Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. Nobody said Paris Johnson Jr. Nobody said Paris Johnson Jr. But, I mean, it's not a sexy pick, but it's a good pick. You never know, man. You never know exactly what's going to happen. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's see here. Let's continue to go with the chat here. We got 27 likes. Appreciate you guys for obviously smacking the like button. 81 people watching. Definitely go ahead and continue to smack it. But yeah, right now where we're standing, 76 votes, and the wide receiving position is just completely like blowing it out of the park. It definitely seems like most fans right now wants wide receiver, and that's fine, right? I think that's where my mind is right now too. But we got a lot of holes, man. It's holes central in this Cardinals organization, man. It's a bad thing. It truly is. Let's take a look at the top draft picks, shall we? Let's go on PFF here real quick. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of PFF, but they have a very, very good, easy on the eyes draft people that we can take a look at here in terms of like who you possibly might want, right? Let me see here. Okay, let's take a look here. So these are the top draft picks, or the top draft prospects. The top draft prospects for the NFL heading into 2024. So let's take a look at this here together, and let's see where we're kind of at. So I get it. A lot of people don't want Caleb Williams. He's been turned off by a lot of the fan base because of the crime, because he wants part ownership, because of just the comments that were made by his dad. To me, I'm not fully over Caleb Williams personally. I think I'm just keeping him in my back pocket. I'm not talking about him because at the grand scheme of things, we got 5 games left. I don't think it's very important to talk about Caleb Williams right now, but I still have him in my back pocket. The only 2 quarterbacks I want to see take a snap heading into in 2024 is Kyler or Caleb. That's it. But right now, it's Kyler. He's the dude. So let's continue to watch. Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Obviously, I think a lot of people's big boards have this man at the top. This guy's huge. He's amazing, dynamic. There's also Drake May, which some people are high on. I'm not the biggest Drake May guy, personally. I don't know. I'm not there with him. I hope the Cardinals don't go this route if they want a quarterback, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. Obviously, you got the tackle from Penn State, seen to be is probably one of the best tackles coming in here in a very long time, Fashanu. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Cardinals continue to build up that roster, because that would be a really nice piece for the Cardinals as well. Brock Bowers, I'm not interested in any tight ends. I'm not sure if you guys are in the same boat as me, but I'm not interested in getting a tight end at all. And I hope the Arizona Cardinals are not either. Please don't even look that way. Although I think he's going to be good. He's going to have a good career in the NFL. It's not for the Cardinals. We just got too many needs, and I like Trey McBride. And then you got this guy here from UCLA. I don't know. I want to stay clear of this guy right now. To me, I do like Joe Alt. I think this would be a really cool pickup as well if the Cardinals did get either him or Fashanu. I think that would be really cool. But I do like him. Malik Neighbors, cool. But I mean, I'm not really looking his way. I do like Newton out of Illinois. In the interior defensive lineman, I think is huge for the Arizona Cardinals. Any guy. This guy would probably be the best for me if you're looking at an interior defensive lineman. And on top of that, this is my second top wide receiver. I know a lot of people aren't really talking about Rome Odunze, but y'all, Rome Odunze is not getting the love that I feel like he should be getting. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him, but this man is a 6'3", 215 pounds, has caught 73 catches, over 1,300 yards on the season, averages about 18.2 yards a catch, and then 13 touchdowns on the season for Roma Dunze. Man, I think this guy could be a sneaky special talent for the Arizona Cardinals if they chose to go this route and they chose not to get a Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think anybody should sleep on a Roma Dunze. I want to see what this guy can do in the combine because I think this guy can be sneaky. Sneaky. So if the Cardinals can do something like that, I would be happy. Obviously, top cornerback in the draft, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I would be down with that. Chop Robinson, I'm not, I mean, it's not like I'm a big fan. I don't want to go that route is where I'm going. So I want to go Kool-Aid McKinstry if the Cardinals do go that route as well. Jared Verse, I do like him out of Florida State. Nate Wiggins, right? And then you got Dallas Turner. And then you got some other people here at the bottom part of the draft. And I don't really want to focus too much on any of these guys because in the grand scheme of things, like the Cardinals are picking hopefully 2 and 13, hopefully. Right now we're 2 and 17, but as of right now, obviously TBD. What's up, Cam King, with the $5 super chat? What's up, brother? He says, K1 is as good as gone. Please sit him before he gets hurt again. Boom. Perfect example. Perfect example. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think anybody's wrong. Anybody's opinion is absolutely valid. Anybody's opinion is valid. We got my guy Cam King here saying that K1 is as good as gone. Please sit him before he gets hurt again. See? I'm not the only one saying this, ladies and gentlemen. We got fans up here fed up. We got fans up here absolutely not, happy with where we're looking. I still personally do think 5 more games is going to be very telling. Now, was it a little concerning that Kyler Murray was limping off the field? Yeah, a little concerning that he was limping off the field versus the Rams. Definitely concerning for sure. But I don't think the Cardinals right now are completely out on Kyler as of right now. We got 5 games left though. We got 5 games left. And they're going to be very tough defenses. So it's not going to be a good look either or. So we'll see. Someone in the chat says Chop Robinson sounds like a good player. He does sound like, and he is a good player. None of these guys that we're bypassing are like, they're all good players, right? They're all good prospects. It's just the people that I want personally. So let's do a real quick recap and the people that I would want here, right? Caleb Williams, back pocket. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about him right now, but I'm keeping him on my back pocket. Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, right? We want him. I want him. Drake May, I'm going to skip over him. Fashanu, I want him. I feel like that would be great. Let's keep it going. Joe Alt, another prospect that I want, right? Newton, that would be great too. Interior defensive lineman. Roma Dunze, that's another guy that I would absolutely want. Kool-Aid McKinstry is another guy that I would absolutely want. Jared Verse is another guy that I absolutely want. Everybody else kind of follows off the side to me. Those are just the top prospects that I want, but every one of these guys are rightful to being a top prospect, and I hope nothing but the best for them in their career. But I think with what we will best benefit from are the guys that I mentioned, right? But I've been wrong before. I've been wrong before. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's not forget too, y'all. Let's not forget we got free agency. We got free agency this year. And I think last time I looked, we had about 50 million, estimated about $50 million in cap space. 50 million. You know what we could do with 50 million? We can get an offensive lineman. We can get a number 3 wide receiver or number 2 wide receiver. You can get a cornerback to help you out, right? You can have Garrett Williams, that cornerback that you get in free agency. And maybe you get another cornerback that you really like. Or maybe Ketrell Clark actually develops into the guy that we want. Or maybe Marco Wilson could be number 3 cornerback, right? We have so much money this year. And I hope, fingers crossed, that the Arizona Cardinals have a plan. Whether it's moving off of DJ Humphries and saving some cap space there, or obviously figuring out a way for us to get more and obviously building for mainly the draft. But we got a lot of cap space as well. Got a lot of cap space. The free agency market is not looking good for wide receiver. It's not looking good for wide receiver. I think T. Higgins might be the best, but let me see here. NFL free. Okay, we're going to look at potential free agents Potential free agents for 2023. I think T. Higgins might be the best, though, in terms of wide receiver, if you're looking for a wide receiver. Potential, let's see here. Yeah, T. Higgins might be the best wide receiver that you might be looking at because he hasn't been paid. I think Calvin Ridley is signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If he hasn't been already, then I'm pretty sure they're going to. But he might be the best. Michael Pittman right now isn't signed. So if you do want to get a Michael Pittman, that might be a guy that you can actually obviously look at as well. Saquon Barkley is on a franchise tag, so he might be available. I doubt the Cardinals will go that route. But the best wide receiver you might be looking at in free agency might be T. Higgins and Michael Pittman, which is nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to sneeze at. So if they do go Michael Pittman or they do go T. Higgins, hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. O-line free agency. Let's see what O-line free agency here is. I don't see any top offensive linemen. Offensive lineman is very, very hard to come across. You're not going to be able to get a big time a big time player. A lot of those guys are wrapped up. You might be getting like a Band-Aid guy for a year or two. Like right now, I think the best one, and I'm not 100% sure if he's been signed or not, but like it seems like there's an offensive guard for the New England Patriots, Mike Awanu. Like I said, I'm not very versed and I'm not very educated on the New England Patriots, but that might be the best guy on this list, and he's sitting at number 27. So like there's not a lot of people, but if you can get a solid guard, hey man, get a solid guard. Let's rock and roll, right? Because we got a lot of money. It's tank season. Last time I checked, JG makes the plays. It's tank season. Last time I checked, that JG makes the plays. Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious now, right? There's no fighting it. There isn't. It is what it is at this very moment. We got 5 games left, and they're all going to be tough. That's why in November we're talking about the draft now. There's no point. There's no point in previewing Cardinals versus Steelers. There's no point. They most likely will beat us. We're just hoping to stay competitive. Like that's the best thing we got going for us right now. Please stay competitive, right? Please don't get blown out. That's what we're hoping for at this very moment. Kyler Murray, show that you're number 1 QB heading into 2024. That's what we're hoping for. But in terms of me getting up in arms about tank season or not tanking, I can care less at this very moment. Truly, I'm still going to be watching because I'm a Cardinal fan and I just love football in general. And I want to see Kyler Murray hopefully progress, but I'm not in a situation where I'm going to get up in arms about, oh, we're not tanking. Honestly, it is what it is. Whether you tank, whether you just suck because your roster sucks, it is what it is at this very moment. So appreciate the contribution. It's Wally. Somebody in the chat says TJ Watt is going to eat Paris alive. Maybe. I mean, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Yeah, so we got about $50 million in cap space next year. And on top of that, we're going to have about 13 picks in the NFL draft. So the main draft picks are going to be your top 5 in the top 100. So we can definitely make some noise, man. We can definitely make some noise. And did everybody forget about John Gaines? Remember John Gaines from UCLA? John Gaines was hurt in free agency, but John Gaines was told to us that he can play center or he can play guard. That might be our guard of the future. You never know. John Gaines that we just drafted last year, right? He could maybe be our guard of the future. Maybe he'll develop to be that guy. Hopefully he's not injury prone, right? Hopefully not. Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. Somebody in the chat says we're eating that cap space because of K1. Well, I mean, I think the last time I looked, K1 was in the cap evaluator, like the estimation of what we have is already kind of like, let's take a look here. 2024. Yeah. So for 2024, and now this was an article published in June the 2nd, 2023. And obviously things can change, right? For 2024, the Cardinals are set to have $51.1 million in cap space with 44 players under contract. And yes, that does include $51.85 million in cap for Kyler Murray. Yes. So we're still going to have $51.1 million in cap with 44 people under contract. Now, obviously, we need to fill up the roster, so that 51 might go really, really quickly. And I doubt we're going to get these big name dudes. We might get one big name guy or maybe two, and then a lot of people just kind of fillers at 1 to 2 year deals. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But the $51 million is including the Kyler Murray big cap hit to the Arizona Cardinals. So that is including, just FYI. What do you think about Sean Payton now? I'm just curious. You all know how I felt about Sean Payton in the beginning. I don't think there's no hiding it. You all know how I felt about Sean Payton in the beginning, right? I felt like that was the creme de la creme of the coaching staff hiring. Right now, in the beginning of the season, I was super hyped up that Jonathan Gannon beat Sean Payton in a preseason game. I might have got a little too ahead of myself. Right now, I'm not saying the Cardinals should have gone Sean Payton, but right now it looks like it's working out for the Broncos. Right? I think it was a slow start for Sean Payton, but I think they're starting to trend in the right direction. It sucks to see. It sucks to see, honestly. He was the guy I wanted. That was the creme de la creme for me. And if you guys weren't rocking with me in the off season, he was the guy I was hyping up. He was the guy that I was saying the Cardinals need to get. And of course, the money was too much. We didn't have Wally World money. We didn't have Walmart money. And we didn't want to give up draft capital, obviously. So we got Jonathan Gannon, which right now, I mean, it's hard to judge Jonathan Gannon because of what the roster looks like. But let's just finish strong. That's all I can really say. That's all I can say. But yeah, I want a Sean Payton bad. Yeah, I want a Sean Payton bad. Yeah, bad. And just like Will Anderson, though. Like Will Anderson, does anybody remember? I wanted Will Anderson. I wanted Will Anderson Jr. Really bad as well. It was either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. But obviously with the whole Jalen Carter situation, I was like, maybe Monty won't go that route, right? Maybe Monty will be like, no, because you don't fit our type of guys we're looking for. But I wanted Will Anderson Jr. I did make a video about Kyler Murray wanted Paris Johnson, and that might be the route the Cardinals go. I didn't expect for us to trade back and trade back in. I didn't expect that. That was an absolute shock to me. But I wanted Will Anderson Jr. I truly did. We'll see what happens. Right now, I think B.J. Ojulari has one more sack over Will Anderson, which, hey, maybe blessing in disguise, right? Maybe a blessing in disguise. Paris Johnson Jr. has started off really, really good in the season. And is kind of struggling a little bit, but I mean, the whole offense is struggling. You know, the whole offensive line is struggling. We got so many injuries. And this is kind of the tail end where it gets rough. So I'm not going to judge Paris Johnson Jr. I know it was Kyler Murray's pick, and obviously Monty Austin-Fort's guy. We're rocking with them. We'll see what happens. Somebody in the chat says JG needs to go for real. Here's the thing. Like, I don't think JG is going to go, though. Like, I don't think JG is going to go unless something completely drastically happens within these next 5 games. And what I mean is, like, unless somehow JG, this is the only way I think JG is going to lose or get fired. This is the only way. And all these things need to happen in order for JG to get fired. We'll go down 0-5, right? The Arizona Cardinals we finish off with the 2-15 record, right? This is the only way I see JG getting fired. We finish off with a 2-15 record, but not just that. The Arizona Cardinals getting destroyed every single one of these games. And I mean, absolutely beat down. It's not even a game, right? Those two need to happen. And on top of that, he loses the locker room, right? If you're telling me that he can't rally these guys together to finish off the season strong, because I get it, right? This is something that we've talked about here on my podcast on Big Red Pod. If you guys haven't heard of the Big Red Pod, check it out here on YouTube, Big Red Pod. We do podcasts Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So really good conversation. If you want to check it out. But anyways, if he loses the locker room and people aren't fighting at the end of the day, then I can maybe see JG getting fired. But I don't know. I think all these things that have to happen, it's just, I don't think it's going to happen. Hope not. At least fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that it doesn't happen because I don't want to start over again. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We have been getting destroyed. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I agree. I don't know if you watched my last video, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I'm not giving any excuses. If you guys didn't watch my Sunday's video, my Sunday streams, obviously I wasn't a happy camper. I don't care if the Cardinals lose. I just don't want to get destroyed. I want to finish strong. That's the biggest thing. I want to finish strong. Somebody in the chat says, I wish Paris was playing left tackle instead of right tackle. He needs reps and practice to fully improve. Great. This is what I think the Cardinals are going to do. I think the Cardinals will be moving Paris Johnson to the left tackle in the offseason. I think there is going to be a switch being made because I think the way the Cardinals thought process is that the Arizona Cardinals have DJ Humphries at left tackle, right? Left tackle is such a premier position to have. One of the biggest, you can't pick one off a tree. It's not like you could just get one out of nowhere. Left tackle is just a premier position, a premier. And because DJ Humphries is left tackle, the only other spot we can put Paris Johnson Jr. was the right. So I think we wanted to give him some reps. We wanted to get him involved early, but we stuck him in the right tackle because of DJ Humphries being a left. What if the Cardinals decide to move off of DJ Humphries? What if the Cardinals decide to trade him away? What if they decide to move DJ Humphries to the right because DJ Humphries is getting old? Maybe we're going to be moving to Paris to the left. I think Paris Johnson will be getting a fair chance and being moved over to the left. I think he needs a full offseason to fully get that under his belt. That's just the way my mind looks at it. So we'll see. We'll see. Ertz, Connor. Ertz still isn't under contract. I think one more year. And I think Connor might be under contract for one more year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But I think Ertz is voidable. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I was surprised that Ertz didn't get moved off of in the trade deadline, but unfortunately he got hurt. And I don't think there's really a market for Ertz. I do like Connor, but I do want the Arizona Cardinals to go running back. Somewhere in the mid round, somewhere. I want us to get a running back. It's important. We've been Buns versus the Rams. Yeah. We've not looked very good versus the Rams. That's factual. People want to keep losing with the trash. Yeah, man. I mean, this is what it is, man. It's nobody's happy right now, man. Nobody's happy, and I get it, right? It's not a good feeling when you get beat down to a pulp with a team that completely beats you. Almost kind of feels like every year, right? You don't want that to happen. You don't. And I'm right there with you. I wasn't happy that we lost, but I wasn't more happy about the Cardinals getting beat down more than anything. So grand scheme of things. Honestly, I feel like everyone would have taken the bus to work. We'll be till 11, and that's funny. What's up, RC3? We'll get a cornerback out of free agency. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe somebody of like a veteran. Yeah, I could see that. Deus, of course, with the usual tune. Love it. Love it. Yeah, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we dived a lot into a lot of everything today. We talked about a lot today. We talked about the Cardinals might be losing draft capital. If you guys didn't hear that, we talked about it a little earlier in the stream, actually in the beginning part of the stream, where the Arizona Cardinals might be losing draft capital because of the Dobbs situation and how it all kind of shook out. So there's that. We talked about, can the Cardinals be the first overall spot in the NFL draft? And I gave you my spiel about, the Panthers and the Bears and all that stuff. So we can maybe find ourselves in the first overall spot in the NFL draft. Potential draft prospects to look out for. Obviously, it's all contingent right now in terms of what the Cardinals are going to finish off within these next 5 games. But I think it's very, very important to be very, very familiarized with the idea of the Cardinals need to finish strong. I'm not saying win 5-0. I'm not even saying win 3 games. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be competitive. That's it. That's it. Just be competitive. That's it. That's all we want as Cardinal fans. Don't get your brains beat out. That's all we want as Cardinal fans. All right, y'all. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. We're going to be closing up shop. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody. Shout out to all of you here in the chat, all the chatters, everybody that's staying here, everybody that smacked the like button on this video. Thank you so very much. All right, as always, have a great rest of your day, and bye.